discernment. A person can undoubtedly become evil by trying to become good, just by the practicum of not seeing the long game. There can't be any agenda tied into your development, your soul development, in a purposicacious manner, an ontological manner, where one loses the time-space factor, that is, what we acquire on a solid, assumed level of constants and concrete behaviorism. I give you this, quid pro quo, I receive this back. This has to become something that's completely released to the divine, and you get to this place where you can only stay in flux with these principles. And as times, places, events begin to challenge those principles, that is when an action must be taken, and those actions become virtue by deed. And whether or not there's an ethics that's involved with that, that is a very dark and murky area where you start to see practitioners that could be considered of the left or the right hand path. You can almost, they become indistinguishable from one another. And by their fruits you shall know them throughout an entire lifetime. A lot of times one can't even be so sure, because it is illumination and the ultimate joining of, we're not going to use the term brotherhood, because it is way beyond a brotherhood. It is way beyond a Masonic order or a Jewish sect of philosophers that are constantly trying to justify why their ends justify their means and for corporeal gain. People are going to remain solely alone and going through the process of grief and strife, because that is what we are preparing for, a morbidity of no return, that where one doesn't want to or need to return, that one can stay in this meditation, and whether or not we are joined by fellows that are of our like, the whole goal is to return back into those pure roots of what we would call the Godhead, where we all return back to the central state that we began in from the first place. In this concept, even materia prima, or first substance or matter, becomes principle, and the fact that principles have to exist at all means that there's an anti-principle or a challenge there.